prepare to race onto the field. Everything is riding on this football game. So there's a special intensity, a special urgency. Here come the Volunteers. Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
What's up, guys? Dane Davis here. Shout out to Boogie Bentley Dauber and the Indy Kid over at Talkin VAWLS Network on YouTube. VAWLS fans, head over to their YouTube channel, Talkin VAWLS Network. Smash that like button and subscribe, baby. Go Big Orange.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley, and today we're going to talk about Josh Heupel, and it's crunch time. It is do or die. The time is now. We're going to talk about just why it is so important that Josh Heupel be the guy. It's an ongoing conversation in the comment section. A lot of people come in and say this is the next Derek Dooley. They have no confidence in Josh Heupel turning this thing around. And look, he is facing a huge mountain to climb. He has got a huge rebuild on his hands. Look at the guys that, packed up and left, the guys that entered into the transfer portal. Check out the video the Indy Kid dropped earlier today. It is more about the guys that he brought in through the transfer portal. And again, this is a huge rebuild, but college football is changing. I think being able to utilize the transfer portal is going to help Josh Heupel turn this thing around. But we're going to look at why it is crunch time. We're going to look at why the time is now. But as always, guys, before we get rolling here, do me a favor, just below the video, smash that little thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. It helps the channel. It plays into the analytics, all that good stuff. Also, if you're new here, welcome. Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. Do us a favor, go ahead and subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop new content. Look, we are a week away, 1 week away from fall camp. I'm excited. The Indy Kid is excited. Dauber's fired up. We're going to be dropping all kinds of content, so don't miss out. Click that bell. You'll get notified when we go live or when we drop content. But let's jump into it. This is a great article. This is a really good article from Wes Rucker over at 24/7 Sports. So I want to kind of go through it, read some of it, provide some commentary on what he has to say, because again, it's a great article. It says VAWLS must not settle for second-class status in supercharged SEC. And, a couple of days ago, last week, I guess it was, you guys asked for a video about Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC. So I put that together, but then, I've had some more time to think about it, and then I saw this article from Wes Rucker, so I want to go through it and talk about it. He says, the shark doesn't consider the long-term consequences of its actions. When it's hungry, it eats. When it's threatened, it attacks. No tomorrow is guaranteed for a shark. It lives for the moment. Says, was the SEC hungry? Was it threatened? Was it both? You'd have to ask SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey and the leadership of SEC universities and hope they give you a straight answer, even if they felt the slightest bit threatened, which is possible. They probably won't admit that on record. Either way, the SEC just bit into the Big 12's jugular and sent a vicious warning to the rest of the college football world. This is an eat or get eight business, and the SEC ain't getting eight. Look, this is a big-time deal. But as I talked about in the video last week, this is forever changing what we knew as college football. Waking up on Saturday mornings, watching the SEC on CBS, watching the Pac-12 late at night, all these conferences. College football is forever changing as the SEC starts to build this super conference. Wes Rucker goes on to say Texas and Oklahoma, two of the largest brands in college athletics, will exit the Big 12 by 2025 at the latest, and have officially asked the SEC to consider adding them as the league's 15th and 16th teams. The article goes on here to talk about how universities don't ask for permission. If it comes out, if it's announced, it's going to happen. The Longhorns and the Sooners will be SEC programs by 2025. So what does that mean for Tennessee? What does that mean for Josh Heupel? You guys were doing the fall of the VAWLS series. A lot of you dig it. Some of you don't. Some of you consider it negative. It's not negative. It's a walk through history. It's going back through how we got to where we're at now. And we opened that series by asking, how did Tennessee get here? What was that one moment that you knew Tennessee was never going to be the same again? But the reality of that series, as we walk through history, there were so many different choices made along the way that led to 5 coaches being hired over the span of 13 years and very little success throughout that run of coaches. So what does this mean, adding Texas and Oklahoma into the SEC by 2025? What that tells me is Josh Heupel's got about 4 years. He's got 4 years to figure this thing out, and we've called it a huge rebuild, but we need to see progress. We cannot, with Texas and Oklahoma, we cannot afford for Josh Heupel to fail. It's do or die time. I saw somebody in the comment section, I think it was the Indie Kids video this morning, maybe it was another video, it all kind of runs together. Somebody left a comment, and they said Tennessee, Vanderbilt, some of these other teams might as well go ahead and consider themselves cellar dwellers forever. Tennessee just thrown right into the mix with Vanderbilt. If Josh Heupel can't get it done, Tennessee very well may be a cellar dweller forever. Now's the time. It's do or die time, because we cannot be afford. Look at history. Jeremy Pruitt, 3 years. Butch Jones, look how long he was there. Look how long Derek Dooley was there. We cannot afford another 3 and done. And that's not saying that if 3 years from now Josh Heupel fails to show any type of progress, I'll be right here calling for his head, just like I was Jeremy Pruitt said. We demand success at Tennessee. What I'm saying is we cannot survive another coaching search in 3 years with Texas and Oklahoma coming to the SEC in 2025. The article goes on to say here, it says super conferences were inevitable. I don't blame the SEC for making the first big move, and it's the biggest move the league could make. It's a move that economically will make the SEC nearly as powerful as the NCAA. That's the point, guys. That's the point. Gone are the days of college football. The video I made last week, the SEC is the new NFL. The SEC is the super conference. It's the power conference. It's the mega conference. Nothing else is going to matter. Everybody is going to be watching SEC football, period. They already do. They already do. The conversations are, what would Clemson do in the SEC? How could Ohio State handle the grind of the SEC? Previously, how could Texas or Oklahoma fare in that weekly grind? Well, now we're going to find out. Now we're going to find out with Oklahoma and Texas. What about Clemson? When does Clemson come calling? The article goes on to say the talk on the national level is exactly what you expect. Everyone wants to know what's happening next. Will the Big 12 fold? Will the Pac-12 and Big 10 picking over scraps? Yeah, what's going to happen? It's forever changing. Let's go on where he talks about Tennessee, because that's the interesting part. Wes Rucker says, what Tennessee must figure out is what this means for Tennessee. My best advice for the Vols, speed up your rebuild by any reasonable or semi-reasonable means necessary. Again, for me, that's the transfer portal. I think you can do that. College football has changed. You're no longer just recruiting high school kids. You're recruiting kids from other schools. You're recruiting your own players. The transfer portal can help Josh Heupel speed up this process. The article says the uncomfortable reality for Tennessee is that the moment Texas and Oklahoma enter the SEC, many reasonable people could reasonably argue. How many times can we use the word reasonably? But they could argue that Tennessee will fall to the bottom 50th percentile in perception and potential. They're already there. They are already there. People are not scared of Tennessee. Gone are the days. It's not the 90s anymore. So Tennessee would be in the upper echelon of any league from a historical significant standpoint, but the Vols haven't been true national championship contenders in more than a dozen years. That's not necessarily a deal breaker. I don't believe it is, but it's a significant stretch of time, and the Vols spent the past few months again hitting the reset button with new head coach Josh Heupel, who inherited a roster that went 3-7 last season. And it says, in a COVID-adjusted SEC-only schedule, and many of the best players on that 3-7 team, including some really good NFL prospects, left the program. Parted ways. We've talked about it. We've touched on that. We've talked everything about it. The guys that have packed up and left, the guys that are still there, that's all that Josh Heupel can control is who is in Knoxville right now. But the ongoing narrative for me is we cannot afford, as Tennessee fans, for Josh Heupel to fail. He has to succeed or Tennessee's in trouble. Says in true Tennessee style, the timing of this move is less than ideal. Yeah. You can call it the curse of Phil Fulmer. You can call it whatever you want. Just seems to be the luck of the Vols. Says they happen to make some poor coaching hires during a time when most of the SEC peers made good or great hires. They fell from the top pack and then the middle of the pack during the SEC's most powerful era. That's a big part of it too, guys. We can talk about, firing Phil Fulmer. We can talk about Lane leaving in the middle of the night. We can talk about the debacle of hiring Derek Dooley, the failure of Butch Jones, Cornbread. It goes on and on and on. What you got to remember is the SEC got better during that time too. And again, I'm going to use this to plug the Fall of the Vols. I encourage you to go back, check that series out. We're still posting new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. Tomorrow morning, we will be posting the Lane Kiffin era. The episode that dropped yesterday, we talked about the last season for Phil Fulmer. But coming up, we are talking about Lane Kiffin leaving in the middle of the night. Let's go ahead and wrap up this article, finish up this video. It says, if you're a Tennessee fan, you have to hope this upcoming SEC expansion sharpens the focus and resolve of everyone in Knoxville to get better in a hurry. Well, I think we're already there. I feel like the leadership is in alignment for the first time in a long time. From the president to the chancellor to the athletic director to the head coach, I think everybody is focused and on the same page. It all falls on Josh Heupel's shoulders. Can Josh Heupel get it done? This is why he has to get it done. It says if the Vols are still near the basement when the Sooners and Longhorns arrive on the scene, their path to the top shelf will be much more difficult. I don't for one second believe that any degree of ambivalence put the Vols in the current position. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Great song. But you have to hope that staring down the barrel of permanent lower class status spurs a different degree of focus for Tennessee to fix its football program. Again, just a great article there from Wes Rucker over at 24/7 Sports. I wanted to share it with you guys, go through it, make some comments, drop into the comment section below and let me know. I know a lot of you don't think that Josh Heupel is going to get it done. What if he doesn't? Will Tennessee be able to fight back to the top where we feel they belong? Because as it touched on in the article, as I said, some people already consider Tennessee to be the bottom of the barrel. We can't afford another coaching search right as Texas and Oklahoma enter the SEC. Leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. That's going to wrap it up for this video. Do me a favor. Check out the official merchandise of the Talkin' Vols Network. Go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin' Vols. The link to that is in the description. Also, if you have not done so yet, please smash that thumbs up on the way out the door. And that's going to wrap it up for this one. This is the Talkin' Vols Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.
The songs howl like we poets sat in our chains, soaking moonlit falls on